Imagine we are sitting down together, continuing exactly where we left off in the first video. In that first conversation, we talked about the big picture of this course, about pain reprocessing therapy, and about why your pain is absolutely real, even when scans and tests do not fully explain it. We also talked about your nervous system as an overprotective alarm, like a loyal guard dog or a sensitive smoke detector. In this video, we are going to look under the hood a bit more. We are going to explore how pain is actually created in the brain and nervous system, why that is such good news for you, and what it means when we talk about different types of pain, especially something called nociplastic pain. My aim is not to drown you in science, but to give you just enough understanding so that your brain starts to say, "Oh, that makes sense. Maybe there really is a way out of this." As I talk, I invite you to simply notice how your body and mind respond. You do not have to remember every word. You just need to stay curious. Let us begin with something that might feel surprising at first. Pain is not something that lives inside your tissues, waiting to be discovered. Pain is an experience your brain creates when it concludes that you are in some kind of danger and that you need protecting. Sensors in your body send information up towards the spinal cord and brain, but they do not send pain. They send signals about pressure, temperature, stretch, chemicals, and so on. Your brain then takes those signals, combines them with your memories, your beliefs, your mood, and the context you are in, and decides, is this dangerous? Do I need to protect this person? When the answer is yes, your brain produces the experience we call pain. You can think of it like this. Pain is your internal fire alarm. It is supposed to be loud, urgent, and uncomfortable because its purpose is to make you pay attention and do something, like pulling your hand away from a hot stove. When you touch something truly hot, the system works beautifully. Sensors in your skin respond, a message rushes up through your nervous system, and your brain almost instantly screams, "Danger!" You feel pain, you pull back, and you protect your hand. In that moment, pain is your friend. It is your brain's way of keeping you safe. Now imagine a different scenario. You are walking in your kitchen, barefoot, and you accidentally step on a small piece of Lego. Instantly, sharp pain shoots through your foot. You probably curse, grab your foot, maybe sit down. The pain is real, but then a few minutes later, it fades. The Lego did not cause a deep injury. Your brain quickly updates. Okay, that was unpleasant, but the danger has passed. The alarm turns off. In both of those situations, your brain produced pain in response to something meaningful. Real, immediate potential damage. That kind of pain is called nociceptive pain. It is closely tied to what is going on in your tissues. If you break a bone, strain a muscle, cut your skin, or twist an ankle, the pain that follows is nociceptive pain. It usually improves as the injury heals, over days, weeks, or a few months. But now imagine a third situation, and this time, imagine yourself in it. You hurt your back once when you were lifting something heavy, or maybe when you were doing some normal movement that does not even seem dangerous now. You felt a sharp pain, you were scared, you went to the doctor. Maybe the scans showed a disc bulge, a bit of wear and tear, or nothing at all. Time passed. The original injury probably healed, at least on the tissue level, but your pain did not quietly fade away like after the Lego. Instead, it stuck around. Maybe it even got worse. It started showing up when you bent a little bit, or when you sat too long, or when you walked on a hard surface. Sometimes it flared when you were stressed or tired. Sometimes it even felt like it came out of nowhere. You did not choose this. You did not wake up one day and decide, "I think I will have ongoing pain." What likely happened is that your brain and nervous system learned to associate certain movements, postures, or contexts with danger. They started predicting that something bad might happen, even when there was no significant damage happening in that moment. And because your brain's job is to protect you, it kept sounding the alarm. Over time, the alarm system itself became more sensitive. The threshold for sounding the alarm dropped. Things that once would not have bothered you now produced pain. This is sometimes called central sensitization. Your central nervous system, especially the spinal cord and brain, becomes more responsive to signals like a volume knob being turned up. This is where a term like nociplastic pain comes in. Nociplastic pain is a type of pain where the main problem is not active tissue damage or a clearly damaged nerve, but the way the nervous system is processing and amplifying signals. The alarm system has changed. It has become overprotective. The pain is real, but the settings inside your brain and spinal cord have been altered. This kind of pain often shows up in stories that sound like yours. Pain that has lasted more than 3 or 6 months. Pain that moves or changes location. Pain that sometimes flares when you are stressed or upset. Pain that does not match neatly with imaging results. Pain that sometimes improves when you are on vacation or deeply engaged in something you enjoy, and then returns when life gets tense again. If you recognize yourself in that description, it is actually a hopeful sign, even if it does not feel that way at first. It suggests that your pain is heavily influenced by brain and nervous system processes that are, by their nature, changeable. Brains can learn. Nervous systems can reorganize. The fact that your alarm system became more sensitive over time also means it can become less sensitive over time with the right input. You might have had experiences that already hint at this, even if you did not have the words for it. Maybe there was a day when you were fully absorbed in something you love. You were with someone you care about, or doing a hobby, or watching a really engaging movie. For a while, you barely noticed your pain. Then later, perhaps when you were alone again, tired, or thinking about your symptoms, the pain surged back. In that moment, you might have thought, but nothing changed in my body. How can the pain be so different now compared to a few hours ago? From the perspective of your nervous system, it makes sense. When you were engaged and safe, your brain had less reason to keep the alarm blaring. When stress and focus on pain returned, so did the alarm. Or maybe you have noticed that when you are anxious about your body, you scan for pain. You check your back or your neck or your jaw many times during the day. Each time you look for it, you tend to find more of it. Again, the brain is doing what brains do. When you repeatedly ask, "Is it hurting now? Is it worse? What does this mean?" you are telling your nervous system, "This is important. This might be dangerous." The alarm responds accordingly. This does not mean you are choosing your pain. It means that your attention, thoughts, memories, and emotions are all part of the information your brain uses to decide whether to create pain. And that is why understanding this process is such a powerful first step. When you recognize that pain is an active decision your brain is making, based on many inputs, you can start to change some of those inputs. Let us circle back and put this into a simple structure. You could say that pain is an output of the brain, driven by 3 main ingredients: input from the body, predictions from the brain, and context. The input from the body includes all the signals coming from your muscles, joints, organs, skin, and nerves. These signals can be more or less intense, but they are not labeled as pain until they reach the brain. The predictions from the brain include everything you have learned over your life about pain and danger, past injuries, scary diagnoses, stories you have heard from family and doctors, images you have seen of spines, joints, or discs. All of these shape how threatening your brain believes a certain signal to be. If you have been told your back is fragile or your discs are degenerating, your brain may treat even normal signals from that area as suspicious. The context is what is happening in your life and environment right now. Are you stressed? Tired? Rushed? Alone? Safe? Supported? Relaxed? Your brain weighs all of that when deciding whether to turn on the pain alarm and how loud to make it. Together, these 3 elements determine whether a given situation leads to pain, no pain, or a higher or lower level of pain. This is why the same physical input can produce very different experiences in different people, or even in the same person at different times. For example, imagine you are at home, in your living room. You feel a mild twinge in your back. If, at that moment, you are calm, you have recently learned that your pain is likely nociplastic, and you are thinking, "My system is safe, this is okay, that twinge might barely register." Your brain receives the signal, quickly checks, "Danger?" and then decides, "No, we are okay." The alarm does not sound loudly. Now imagine you are in a very different context. You are at work, under pressure, already anxious about your body. You feel the same exact twinge. But this time your thoughts immediately go to, Oh no, here it comes again. What if I cannot get through the day? What if this means something is getting worse? Your brain receives the signal, but now it also hears the internal commentary and senses the stress in your system. It might decide, this is a threat, and turn the alarm up much higher. The feeling becomes real, intense pain. This is not you exaggerating. It is your nervous system doing pattern recognition and erring on the side of caution. The problem is that in chronic pain, the system has become too cautious. The beautiful thing is that the same nervous system that learned to be overprotective can learn to be more accurate again. That learning is what pain reprocessing therapy aims to guide. To use another image, imagine that your brain has a kind of pain volume knob. In the beginning, that knob is set low. It only turns up the volume when there is a clear, strong reason to do so. Over time, because of injuries, inflammation, long-term stress, scary messages, or repeated painful experiences, the knob gets turned up. The system begins to amplify signals that used to be quiet. If your pain fits the pattern of nociplastic pain, then a lot of what you are feeling now is the result of that volume knob being turned too high. It is not that nothing is happening in your body. Bodies always have sensations. It is that your brain has learned to treat many normal or minor sensations as serious threats. In the upcoming videos, we will be working directly with that volume knob, through education, through how you pay attention to pain, through movement, and through your thoughts and emotions. Each time you notice a sensation and respond in a calmer, more confident, more informed way, you are giving your nervous system a new piece of evidence. You are showing it that it may not need to sound the alarm so loudly. Before we end this video, I want to tie this back to hope. You might be thinking, if my brain has learned to create so much pain, does that mean it is permanently damaged? The answer is no. The same capacity for learning that allowed your pain pathways to strengthen is the same capacity that allows them to weaken or reorganize. Your brain remains plastic throughout your life. It is always adapting. You might also be wondering, does this mean there is nothing physically wrong with me? Not exactly. Many people with chronic pain have some kind of changes on scans, disc bulges, arthritis, tendon wear, and so on, but we now know that a huge number of people with those same findings have no pain at all. So the key question is not simply, is there anything on my scan, but is what we see there enough to explain this level of ongoing pain? If the answer is no, then the nervous system's overprotective patterns are almost certainly playing a major role. And that is where pain reprocessing therapy comes in. As we move forward, you do not have to become a neuroscientist. You just need to hold on to a few key ideas. Pain is real, but it is an output of your brain, based on a mix of body signals, predictions, and context. In chronic nociplastic pain, the alarm system has become overprotective. The volume knob has been turned up. And because your brain and nervous system are changeable, you can, over time, teach that system to become more accurate and less reactive again. For now, I invite you to take a brief moment to reflect. Think back over your own story with pain. Can you remember a time when your pain changed quickly without any obvious physical reason? Maybe it reduced during a holiday, or a good conversation, or a deeply absorbing activity. Maybe it increased during a stressful period, a conflict, or after reading something frightening about your condition. You do not have to judge those moments. Just notice them as signs that your nervous system is responsive to more than just tissue damage. If you feel like it, you can write down 1 or 2 such memories after this video. It might feel like, when I was doing this, I almost forgot my pain. Or, when that happened, my pain suddenly got worse. These are not proof that you are imagining anything. They are gentle clues that your alarm system is listening to your whole life. In the next video, we will build on this understanding by talking about when pain reprocessing therapy is the right fit, how to think about medical safety and red flags, and how to feel confident that as you begin to retrain your pain system, you are doing it on solid ground. You have already taken a big step just by listening and considering a different way of understanding your pain. That alone is part of the retraining. Your brain is hearing a new story, one that sees it not as broken, but as capable of change. When you are ready, I will see you in the next video.